Hey everyone, Devin here. Today we're going to be talking about managing overwhelm. Let me know if you are going to be watching this live in the comments, or if you're watching it on replay, let me know in the comments. I'll check them out now or later, depending on when you're watching. So let me tell you a little bit about what we're going to talk about. Managing overwhelm. It's a big one. I'm sure every parent and mom feels this way from time to time. So while I'm chatting about this, if anything resonates for you, you can do the hands up emoji, or you can say yes or anything like that, and we can chat about stuff. So let's get into it. If you're new here, I'm Devin Garcia, and I am a yoga teacher, a wife, and a mom. My daughter is 3.5, and my son is 7 months, and he actually just started crawling last week. So that's a whole new fun chapter in this part of my life. Sometimes people are like, oh, now they're starting to move, but I'm like, yay, I don't have to hold him 24/7 now. And he's been so ready to move, so it's really fun. He also walks with assistance. So yeah, he is ready to chase after his sister and play with her, which is adorable. Anyways, why do I know what I'm talking about on this subject? Because I'm a mom. And also because I am a yoga teacher, and I have some tools that you guys may not have in my tool chest, so to speak, that will help manage overwhelm. So let's get into it. Overwhelm. Why does it happen for mothers more so than fathers? It happens to both, but generally speaking, mothers have 100 million things running through their heads all day long. So even before you become a mom, as a woman, you are often multitasking and thinking of multiple things. You might be thinking of your schedule for the day, your work schedule, your social schedule, your exercise schedule, your extracurricular schedule, as well as what you have to cook throughout the day or eat throughout the day. Are you going to be cooking for someone else, like your significant other, etc., etc.? And those thoughts only multiply as you have children. You start thinking about when they're tiny babies, or even before that, when you're pregnant, you're like, am I taking the right vitamins? Am I eating the right stuff? Should I be limiting this? Should I be limiting that? Fears about your baby, wondering if you should be using a home Doppler or not, wondering if being sick will contribute to something with your baby, etc., etc. And then worrying about labor and delivery, pretty much the whole pregnancy, especially if you're worried about the sensations you may feel during labor and delivery and recovery. And then you get to the postpartum phase, and you're worrying about your healing, you're worrying about sleep, and then you're worrying about feeding and this and that, just automatically. And then you're reading things because you're trying to learn, because the hospital or wherever you gave birth just kind of expects you to know what the heck you're doing. And like, it's all supposed to be so natural. And I mean, it is natural, but it's also not, you know. For example, if you're breastfeeding, that's like, if you've never done it before and you don't know anything about it, you think, well, it's natural, like whatever. And then it comes to it and it might not be as natural, or even if it is natural. With my daughter, I was like, she's latched on, she's eating. How do I know if she's getting enough? Like, how do I know how much she's getting? How do I know when to switch sides? Am I supposed to switch sides? So these things, these questions come up, and then you start looking things up, and then that creates even more overwhelm, because there's things like, if you are feeding them, you're creating too much, like breastfeeding them, you're creating too much of a bond. If you're bottle feeding them, you're not creating enough of a bond. Sleeping, they have to be certain wake windows. If you don't follow those wake windows, you're not going to have good night sleep. And then you get into this like thing where you're doing mental math all day long. Like, can I go to the store, or is that going to be in a wake window or at the end of a wake window, and I'll have to rush home, etc., etc. And it becomes like an overload. So when you're overwhelmed, oftentimes your brain is like, it's kind of like short-circuiting. You're like, I cannot literally take in one more thing. I can't even hear anything because too many things are going on. So what tends to happen for many people is you default to like doing something comfy for you. So that could be being a couch potato, or watching TV, or having some unhealthy snacks, etc., etc. I'm sure you know what that's like. It gets into a cycle, and sometimes you don't even realize it. Sometimes you are made to believe that's just what postpartum is like, and then you go on and find that, okay, like my child is like a preschooler, I'm still feeling this way. Is this just my life now? And it doesn't have to be. Of course, you're always going to be thinking of a lot of things. You're always going to be worrying about your child, especially as they become more independent and you're having to relinquish some control here and there. That can be very nerve-wracking and overwhelming. Even the season of the year you're in, like, for example, I find the holiday season to be overwhelming. I love it. It's so fun and pretty and festive, but you're thinking of all the things you have to do. If you buy presents for people, if you decorate the house, if you want to do certain Santa things with your child. Like, we went to a place called Mountsburg this past Christmas, and figuring out like way in advance, because that place sells out like that, what date is going to be okay, and then worrying if there's going to be too much snow that day, etc., etc. So I find the holidays to be an overwhelming time. Or if you have an illness running through your house. So this was my experience last week. My daughter got the stomach bug first, and then it seemed like it was just her. Like 5 days had passed, and then my son got it, and then my husband got it, and then I got it, and then grandma got it, and then an uncle got it. It was just like, anyways, I hope it's run its course in our family. Luckily, it was only a 12-hour thing, but being the parent, me and my husband were looking after the children, right? I got puked on an awful lot. And then trying to also do work stuff on top of that, trying to keep up with my practice, trying to keep up with cleaning the house and food and everything. I felt pretty overwhelmed and kind of checked out last week. I didn't post a few times, and that just goes to show you, even when you have tools, it can happen. So don't ever feel down on yourself if you are feeling overwhelmed and you go to the default place. So the first thing you want to think about is, can I literally do anything? is the overwhelm to a point where I am overloaded? I just need everybody to leave me alone so I can like refresh my processors. And when I did the poll today, I mean, of course, not everybody responded, but I was happy to see that nobody voted that they are super overwhelmed currently. Most people just wanted some extra tips. So that was great. I'm so glad you guys are not in a state of crazy overwhelm right now. Yeah, so if you are in the state of crazy overwhelm, you kind of have to just, you have to nurture yourself first. That's the most important thing. Otherwise, like it's bad for your mental health. You're not able to help anybody. You're not able to help yourself. You're just overloaded. So if your cozy thing is sitting on the couch or having a snack or watching a show, don't punish yourself. Go ahead and do that to like ground yourself. But the challenge in that is not to make it a habit. I have done that in the past, and you can really get in a cycle, and especially if snacks are your thing, that can become pretty unhealthy. It's gonna sound like ugh, but it's true. If you can get some movement in once you get past that like too overloaded stage, it is extremely helpful and grounding and refreshing. You know, you don't have to do like a marathon or lift the heaviest weights in the world, or you don't have to do like a whole hour. If you can get some movement in so that you can get out of your mind and get into your body, it is so helpful. It's the number one most helpful thing you can do. Because a lot of people might say, you know, meditation or breathing. I would say those would be the next steps. I wouldn't say it'd be the first step, because when you're overloaded with overwhelm, it means you're way too much up here in your own head. And meditation and breathing can be up here in your head, right? And if you are in that state, you're probably not going to have the best meditation of your life. And you're probably, if your meditation is trying to not think of anything, it's not going to work, period. If you're doing a guided meditation, you are probably not hearing a word of the guided meditation because you are overloaded and you're thinking of all the things and nothing at once because it's all too much. So if you can get some movement in, that helps to get into your body and get out of your mind going 100 million miles an hour. So that's the first thing to do, movement. Then you could choose breathing. I would suggest breathing over meditation first, because when you're breathing, what you can do is count your breaths. So you can either count how long your inhales and your exhales are, maybe even pause in between. Like a good one is inhaling for 4, pausing for 4, exhaling for 7. It's a very calming breath. And the fact that you're counting is distracting your mind. So that's a really good one. Then meditation. which is, you know, there's studies upon studies upon studies of how meditation is really great for balancing your mind and grounding yourself and taking you out of those stress and anxiety moments. But of course, it's not going to work if you're overloaded. But if you are wanting tips, meditation is great. If you've never done meditation, I would suggest guided meditation. Often people think of meditation as sitting and trying to think of nothing. And that is what puts most people off, because they're like, that sounds like A, the most boring thing in the world, and B, the hardest thing in the world. But a guided one, it's just like an exercise class. They're telling you what to do, what to visualize, and that is extremely helpful, and it can help your mind to settle and get grounded. And who knows, maybe you might really like that, and then it becomes a habit, a good habit. Yeah, so overwhelm, being in a constant state of overwhelm and being overloaded with overwhelm can lead to anxiety, right? Anxiety is overthinking things that haven't happened yet, basically. So that is obviously so easy to do, being a mother, being a parent. You're thinking of all the things that can happen to your child, or all the things that you aren't doing right now that will affect them later on. But you know, you have to know you're doing the best you can. And if you don't know that, then let this be your sign, and do some breath work and some meditation to help you realize that, and to get out of your head and stop overthinking that. And that is going to help you stave off the anxiety, especially if you recognize that you are in a state of overwhelm constantly. And if you can break that cycle, then hopefully that will help with anxiety and preventing further anxiety, and maybe helping heal current anxiety. Yeah, so those are my tips. So to review, it's, if you are overloaded, do something cozy first to help just have me time. Then do movement to get out of your head. Then do breathing, because it is easier to count your breaths than it is to meditate at first, if you don't have a meditation practice. And then meditate. So those are the 4 tips, and that is hopefully helpful. I know I was definitely using these tactics last week when the stomach bug was going through our household. I mentioned before, if you haven't seen the post, that Facebook is getting rid of holding the lives in the group forever. They only keep it up for 30 days now. So I'm going to be keeping the videos and putting them onto YouTube. So I will post the link in the comments after the live is done, so you can go over there. There isn't any videos up there yet, but there is going to be these lives and the tutorials that I'm going to be doing. Because I was sick last week, I was sick the one day, but my whole family was sick last week. I didn't get around to doing the tutorial, so I'm going to be doing the hip flexor tutorial and put that up. It's going to be short. It's not going to be like a whole class. It's just going to be the one thing. And yeah, that will be a place where these videos can be forever instead of getting deleted eventually. And if you have any questions about meditation or breathing or movements you can do for grounding yourself, please feel free to comment. I will chit chat with you and help you figure out that. And yeah, I guess that is it for tonight. And you can look out for the poll tomorrow where I will see what other tutorials you guys want me to put up on the YouTube channel. And yeah, and I'm going to be trying to get out more newsletters for you guys. I'm working on collabs for you guys. I'm working on all sorts of stuff because I want to help you mamas as much as I can. And I want us all to have a more peaceful and zen motherhood. All right, so I hope you have a wonderful night. And yeah, if you have any questions, comment or DM me and we can chat. All right, bye for now.